What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a transfer show. We haven't done one in a while, but there has been some transfer news. Colt Miners, apparently he said, yes, I'm gonna join Juve, so that's what we're gonna talk about. And apparently we're gonna spend 100 million euros for Atalanta players. Also, MAZRAOUI back on the list. OLISE from Crystal Palace out of the blue. And then we also have an update on Thiago Motta because his agent spoke and he dropped a big hint, in my opinion. But before we get into it, hit the like button. So get at least, let's get to 100 likes on a daily. That should be easy. So 100 likes, hit that now. And also subscribe because we're getting close to 5K and that would be great to reach. But let's jump straight into a pack one. Okay, so like I said, the first news or the title of the show is 100 million euro squad because the news is that we're going to spend 100 million euros on Atalanta player. One of them being Colt Miners, the other one being Carnisecchi, the goalkeeper. And why 100 million euros? Because the Colt Miners offer, the Colt Miners valuation went from 35 million to 65 million in about 3 weeks. Like, it's unbelievable, but that's what happened. Now, Di Marzio broke that news way early, or like at the end of, was it the end of November, January? It was the end of January, and he said, once the transfer window in January closes, Juve will push for Colt Miners and will try to secure it already now for the summer. So that was that. But the news is from Sport Italia saying Juve has set its sights on securing both Colt Miners and Carnisecchi from Atalanta and a double swoop, proposing a combined offer of 100 million euros for the talented duo. Absolutely not going to happen. One, I get the goalkeeping links because of Chesney's situation, but that should be bottom of the list in the summer. We have much bigger issues than the goalkeeping situation, and that needs to be resolved long term. I get it, but that should not be the priority in the summer. You should not be spending 30 million euros on a goalkeeper. Next summer, we have bigger issues, much bigger issues. You can go by with just an okay goalkeeping for 1 or 2 seasons, but you cannot go by with another non-quality midfield for that matter. Now, Colt Miners, I do like. I wrote some things down really quickly because he will turn 26 at the end of this month, next week basically. He has 9 goals and 4 assists this season for Atalanta already. I know people said Rabiot had a good season last season. They're not similar players. Like, he is more of an attacking player. He is an attacking midfielder, period, basically. You can play him on the left, on the right. He did that at Azad. Or you can play him not really behind the strikers, but more advanced up the pitch when you have possession. He is technically a very good player. I like Colt Miners. I like him a lot. I don't like him for 60 million euros. Let that be clear. He's not a 60 million euro player, and maybe the Premier League will pay that. Good for Atalanta, but it's still an Atalanta player, and we know how that pans out when Atalanta players leave. Most of the time, it doesn't end up well. Now, with Colt Miners, apparently, Tuttosport, all the other newspapers are saying he wants to stay in Italy, and he said yes to Juve. And that was what Di Marzio picked up, that they're going to push for him. And if you're going to push for him already now, then the club must know that Colt Miners said, yeah, I do want to join you guys. So now you can talk with Atalanta, and you have, 3-4 months post Euros as well to figure out a deal and make this happen. So the news that he said yes and he wants to stay to Italy is very believable based on the Di Marzio news. The 60 million euro transfer fee is insane. So let's see how that will go. However, Atalanta are in the driver position because I looked it up and he has a contract until... Ooh, that's not good because I misplaced it. No, he has a contract until 27. So that's correct. So not next summer, not the following summer. So he has a long-term contract with Atalanta. And if he keeps playing like that, that's the price they're going to set. And I have no idea how we're going to pay that. So let's see how that will go as well. It's still early, but I think it's becoming very clear that he is the big target. And especially if Rabiot doesn't renew. And we have a Rabiot update really quickly because I want to talk about other stuff than Rabiot. But Nico Shira said that Bayern Munich is considering Rabiot in case he decides not to renew his contract with Juve. Rabiot's mother, who also is his agent, obviously, has begun exploring options, but Juve remains determined to retain their vice captain. Both parties are scheduled to meet again in April. If Allegri is gone, potentially, he's gone as well. I don't want to keep Rabiot on the wage he's demanding for the next 3 years because he's not a shocking player. I'm not saying that, but for that wage, I need some completely different output, and forget about goals, just individual quality, actually doing something with the ball. And he did that at PSG. That's the frustrating part because when he came on from PSG, I was like, yeah, free transfer. That's a good transfer. But with us, he turned into a robot doing very basic stuff, and I'm just not a fan of it, especially for that money. But let's see how that will go. I think his future is a lot tied to that of Allegri. Now, I do want to talk about MAZRAOUI, right back, excuse me, not left back, right back from Bayern Munich. He will turn 26 actually at the end of the year, so he's very young and 27. I know a lot of people do like him. Julian, one of them, he likes him. Me personally, I've never been a fan of MAZRAOUI. Not even when he was playing at Ajax. That's me. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying that. He has a contract until, let me check. Was it also? I thought it was 26. 26. So a manageable contract, in terms of transfer fees and all those things. But I'm just not a big fan of MAZRAOUI. I think he has flaws defensively, and I've not seen him improve over that in the course of the last couple of seasons. So I'm not his biggest fan. He can also play on the right hand side, on the left hand side as well. But he is more of a right back. Damn it, excuse me. But he has been linked with us also last season. And keep in mind, Giuntoli was following him when he was at Napoli as well, before he went to Bayern. I remember that summer, the Napoli were actually in talks with Ajax to bring him in. So you need to keep all those things in mind. But personally, I'm not a big fan of MAZRAOUI. Now, we do need options, and the news from Tutto Sport saying that Weah is finding himself in a difficult situation, so he potentially could leave. I don't think that's fair again towards Weah. I don't think Weah is a world-class player. I don't think he can play wing-back. I don't think he's particularly good at that. I also don't think the formation is not helping. He's a player that needs to be more free, and play higher up the pitch. From what I've seen, if you restrict Weah, he's going to look like a very limited player. You need to exploit his pace, and you need to exploit that to the best of his abilities. What we're doing now, I don't think is the right way to use Weah. I don't think you're going to get the best out of Weah. Excuse me, because my camera is again not focusing. Here we go again. But the MAZRAOUI link kind of makes sense, because we don't, like, the rumors are that even if Allegri is going to say the formation is going to change, you're going to move to a back four. De Chilio is not it. Weah's probably not it. Cambiasso can play on the left. So it makes sense to being linked with right backs. Me personally, I'm just not the biggest fan of MAZRAOUI, but I know a lot of people are. So let me know in the comments if you are a big fan of MAZRAOUI or just a fan, and let me know why, because I never really had it for him. Now, Spinazzola. I said it right. Spinazzola talks are back, and it's from Mirko Di Natale. He said, Juve has inquired about Spinazzola, whose contract with Roma expires at the end of the season. There has been no formal contact between the parties, but discussions have not been extensively explored at the moment. Big fat no. Now, I always said, do not bring back ex-players, ex-coaches, ex-whatever. Well, it's done, and move on. But he's at the top of the list. He's so injury prone, it would make zero sense. Even on the free, no. We go into Europe next season. You need to have the fittest squad out there. Also, you need to have quality. It's pointless if you have, let's say, to keep it simple, 40 games. It's gonna be more, but let's say 40 games a season. If he's only available for 18, that's already not good enough, in my opinion. That's not good enough. And you can say, as a backup, 18 games, that's good. No, in training, you need to have everybody available. You need to have a good squad available, or you need to have the best possibility to have a good squad of it. Look at Inter. You need to have those options. You cannot go into key games and missing a right back, and you need to play or left back, and you need to play your starting right back or left back week in, week out in a key moment because that player is always injured. So it's a big fat no for me. I like Spinazzola. We moved on from him. I thought it was a mistake. We needed the money. I got that situation. We messed up. We got Pellegrini, who's an awful player in return. Whatever. Books. I get it. But no, do not bring him back. It's done. What's done, it's done. We need to move on. So I actually don't want to hear those links anymore anytime soon. But let me know in the comments because I know a lot of people are still bring back Spinazzola. It's just a big fat no for me. Now let's move on to the odd news of the day, and that's Olise from Crystal Palace, and that's from the Telegraph, saying that Juve are in the mix to sign him. And the club might offer Sule because Palace are very interested in Olise. This for me is a non-story. I like Olise. He's very like if you watch Olise play, you're like, oh, damn it, you know. He has 22 goals, no assists, and 12 goals for Palace. So that's 34 in 82 games. That's a good return for Crystal Palace. It really is. He's very young, but he's injury prone. And if that was not the issue, we are not going to pay 60 million euros for Olise because that's the fee they want, at least. Man U, Chelsea, Man City, they're all in for him. It's not going to happen. You know, it's a good link, it's a fun link, but if you have Sule, you're not going to spend double almost for Olise because Crystal Palace are demanding that, and we are apparently demanding close to half of that for Sule. Then you keep Sule. Olise, at this moment in time, is a better player. Obviously, he's more advanced. Like, he's played at a higher level for a much longer time, in my opinion, and he's proven to be a very good player. But you will go with Sule in that case. You would not take the risk of the injuries, but also the big transfer fee. So that story, it's fun, but I think it's a very easy link because Crystal Palace are interested in Sule. But I think that's if Olise leaves. But Olise is not going to leave to join Juve. You know, let's keep it real. That's just not going to happen, especially if you have Man City and even Arsenal and Chelsea and Man U in for him. It's just not going to happen. But it was a fun link, so here we go. Then, before we go to the Motta quote, we have an update on HUIJSEN, that Roma are satisfied and want to keep him, but Juve already told Roma it's not going to happen. He's coming back at the end of the season. Now, there was a big story out today that Marca is saying that he's going to play for the Spanish national team, and people are like, he's what is, like, I don't trust him because he did that to Frosinone. He's not committing to Juve post interviews. I don't expect him playing for Roma saying every single game, I'm going back to Roma. I'm not expecting him to say that. If he plays for the Spanish team, I don't care, because you cannot say you cannot do that and then enjoy Jorginho play for the Azzurri. Like, that's a bit weird. You know, if he wants to play for the Spanish national team and it's possible, whatever. I couldn't care less. Like, I'm not going to say that he's a cheat because of that. However, I don't believe the story at this moment in time. If I'm being completely honest, it doesn't really make any sense. And I'm pretty sure it will get denied anytime soon. But the HUIJSEN one is very interesting because, like I said, if you think he's ready or not, he's going to demand to be a key player if he wants to return. If not, I think he will demand to be sold on a permanent deal. That's what I think is going to happen in the summer. I watched the Inter game. Their center backs are very good with their feet. They're defensively good, which is important. That's the most important thing to me. That's key. But playing out from the back, Bastoni, like, if you look at Bremer, Gatti, and Danilo, you'll cry if you compare that, you know, possession-wise, and carrying the ball and making some plays and getting, bailing us out. Also, skipping midfield, which helps a lot. Remember when we had Bonucci at his prime? You know, he dinked the ball from the back line and it opened everything up. So it is important to have that type of player, and he is that. So I'm assuming he will be integrated into the team next season. But like I said, big decisions should be made. De Sciglio, Rugani, Danilo, you have Diallo, you have Gatti, you have Bremer, you have enough, but I don't think you have enough quality. And he is going to demand to play or to be sold. That's just my opinion. He's not going to go on loan to Sassuolo. And Roma are not going to be like, we will loan him for one more year and we will develop him for you without having an option to buy. That's just also not going to happen. We need to keep it real. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen. And then the final bit is maybe the big one, and that's Motta's agent spoke. And he spoke and he said, if a call from a big team were to come, it would be difficult to refuse. It makes a lot of sense, but he was asked about PSG, Milan, Juve, and he said this, if a call comes in, obviously you're gonna consider it, And he also said that, yeah, he played for Inter, but like it doesn't matter. Like he's a professional. If a big club comes in and it's not Inter, man, you need to think about your career. Now, the Motta talk or the Allegri talk, it's all over the place now. I think we just need to wait until the semi-final of the Coppa Italia, at least, to see how that goes. Winning that tie or not winning that tie, either way, there will be more concrete leaks and more real talk post those games, in my opinion. So he opened up to move. Obviously, if a club comes in, he's not going to stay at Bologna forever. So it made a lot of sense. But we just need to wait and see at this moment in time. That's it. That's the update. A lot of things to go through. Let me know in the comments what you think. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys later tonight. Ciao.